Just say it, 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 just say it.
Just say it!
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
A few things. Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're on with us.
I'm sorry about the fail before. It was all a little bit hectic, but you've got me all night tonight, so no worries.
All good. Yeah, so I guess like I said, we just normally just talk, right? We go into conversations and try and keep it quite simple, really. Like we don't look into things too much, but just trying to be really honest about topics that we talk about, and that's why I thought of you, Anna. But yeah, Ash, did you want to add anything at the moment to the beginning stage?
Not really. Just do what we usually do. Just have a conversation.
All good.
That's just so exciting. I'm really excited about it. Bring it on. Bring the first question on.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
is there anything that you want to speak about, Anna, in particular?
To me personally, I'm just really interested in how you all got it started, because it's quite a nice concept to just have a conversation and bring different people along and talk about whatever you feel like that day. So my curiosity is how you got it started to begin with.
Do you know?
Yes. I thought he was gonna go. I thought he was gonna answer that. Yeah, well, I guess I can answer it. So what happened is, I mean, me and my cousin, we're very close. He's basically like a brother to me anyway. A law friend, and we always spoken in this way before anyway. Like it's not anything new, like these kind of conversations that we're talking about, but we always, when we came up with conversations that we had and we kind of had epiphanies or whatever, we always felt like, we should get back to that moment again where we had that epiphany. So we kind of just felt that, recording it and just having people listen whenever they want to listen to it, and it's okay if they don't have to listen to it. It's just there. It's just a documentation of our journey.
Yeah.
And this is really what it's like for us. Like we bounce from different topics all the time, mainly around love life. We you know, we're still trying to work it out in our own way, you know.
Everyone is.
Yeah, everyone is, isn't it? And you know, through that we learn a lot through our conversations most of the time, and especially with women. So
that's actually a really, really good idea, because there've been so many times where I think, oh, I had a really good conversation with that person, and you can't, like, you remember the feeling that you had, but you can't remember the details exactly of what was said, or whatever idea came out of it. So that's a really good idea, and then you can just go back and listen to them, which is the best.
I've laughed sometimes at listening back, you know. I know Ashley has as well, yeah.
I think I would just cringe at my voice, you know, when we had this like science museum in I'm Australian, Ash, by the way, if you can't tell with my beautiful accent. We had this science museum in our capital in Canberra called Questacon, and it was like highlight of the school year when you got to go to Canberra for 2 nights, and then you'd go to Questacon, and there was this whole section on like listening to your voice, and you could go in there and you talk into these different microphones, and then they would play your voice back. And I just remember thinking, oh my god, it's just the worst, like the accent and the way it sounds is just the worst. I think that would be my biggest. I'm probably blushing right now just thinking about it. Stop it!
No. You know, I've said that I'm a fan of your accent. I'm a fan of all my Aussie friends. I've always told them that is one of my favorite accents. There's nothing wrong with your voice.
You.
I actually have an issue with my voice, so I can relate to you, because I don't have an issue with my voice. Even the first episode we did, I was like, oh man, I sound like an idiot. Like I didn't want to put it up.
You sound
no, but I didn't want to put it up. Actually, I said to you, I don't think that though. I really don't believe that.
People have said like, oh, your voice sounds really good for radio and it's really soothing.
It really does. I'm not even like, you and I are mates. I don't need to say this. You really have a lovely voice. I'd listen to it if you were on the radio.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So Ash, I know a bit about Mike, as you said, because we work together and we've hung out a bit. But what about you? I don't know much about you.
Well, what should I say about that? I kind of relate to myself as nothing, honestly. And for me, just in my life, my purpose is just following my heart and whatever is connected to that, and usually that's down to just my self-expression, and that's all very general, what I've just said. So specifically wise, creativity is like a major important thing in my life, as well as my life too, but like my creativity is super important. And I like to just, when I get ideas, I kind of like to just put them. I remember hearing someone say to me one time, a long time ago, like all they do is like when they have their dreams, they just put it into reality. And that's something I really was kind of inspired by. So like anytime I always get loads of different ideas, and it's about kind of like prioritizing and seeing which ones are most important to me now, and then just seeing how I can make them be from what I see in my head to this outside thing that people get to experience, and hopefully like it contributes in some way.
That's nice. That's really nice. I never used to believe in it. I think I was more the type of person, I just did things. Like if an opportunity presented itself, I took it. I didn't really think things through, which can be really exciting and really stupid at the same time. But now when I hear you say that, I think, and I had this roommate, she's one of my closest friends, I love her very much. She's probably the best person I know, aside from my husband. He's number one, Linny comes a close second. But she describes what she does exactly like what you've just said. She has these ideas. Or she has these things that she wants, and not like like a purse or anything like that. Like I want to work in this kind of field, or I want this experience, I want to go there. and she does these boards, these vision boards, right?
Yeah.
And they're really, really beautiful. Like, she'll get magazine pictures out of them and words that mean something to her.
Yeah.
And I swear to you, I lived with her for a year, and I've known her now for 5.
Yeah.
Every single thing that she has wanted for her life has come true, and she's done it. She's visualized it, she's thought about it, and she's made it something real, you know, whether it be the experience or whether it be where she's ended up working or who she's worked with. She's made it real. And the more time I spent with her, the more I realized how powerful that is, because you can lead your life in the direction that you want by thinking about the things that you dream about and the things that make you happy, and then making them come true in some way.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Good for you. That's really awesome.
Thank you. I think one of the biggest things to like remember, I think, is like there's no like right way to like live life. We don't really come into the world with this instruction manual, and even though we do come into the world with these kind of like certain things that are in place that are like, okay, you're meant to do this and then you do that and and blah 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 blah, and there's nothing wrong with doing those things, but I think the most important thing is that you make sure that something that like that desire is something that has actually come from you versus someone telling you that's what you've kind of got to do. And it is a journey, and it's like, for me, like, I'm continually making it up. Like, sometimes I don't have it all figured out and I don't have it all planned, but I have a general idea of things, and it's just one of those things where I've learned over time, the more and more I allow myself to make it up as I go along and not be fixed on, okay, it's definitely got to go that way and it's definitely got to happen that way. The experience of life is completely different.
It's incredible, yeah, because it's spontaneous that way.
Well, it's better that way, I think, but it's hard to, okay, speaking as a girl, maybe this is a generalization, but I feel like there are these pressures that are put on you as a woman, and it goes kind of something like this. Oh, you've got to get a good job, you've got to go to uni, and then you've got to get a good job, and then you've got to find your person, and then you've got to get engaged or married, and then you've got to get pregnant. And not everyone wants this. Like, it's not something that every girl wants, but there is this little kind of cloud hanging over you from society. I don't even know. I think you see everyone around you telling you that that's what you're supposed to have, or that's what you're supposed to work towards, or what you're supposed to want, and then you put that pressure on yourself, and it's really hard to let go of that, and to let go of working towards those things. I don't think sometimes women stop to actually think, wait, do I want kids, or do I actually want to get married? Does it need to be by this age? I don't think I didn't stop for a little while to think if I actually wanted it or not. And then it's really hard when life kicks your ass, excuse my language, and you don't get there, and you're not where you're supposed to be, you know, with your bunny ears, with your inverted commas, and you feel like you failed. You know, you're 30 or you're 29, and there isn't a man in sight, or you're not at the job that you thought you were supposed to be at. And that's really hard to let all of that go and say, actually, I'm going to turn my back on all of the things that I'm supposed to be doing with this weird imaginary manual that someone's put on me. It's really hard to turn your back on that. Like, it makes life so much better when you do, because then all the good things happen and all the right things happen, but it's really hard to walk away from that, I find, anyway. I should say.
I hear that, and I think it's generally, again, it's probably very similar for guys as well, just with what it's meant to be for guys. And the thing is, like, it's kind of just remembering, like, you know, like when you were kids, and like when we used to imagine and dream about just things, whether it was to do with life or whether it was because we were playing with toys or whatever it was. It's kind of like keeping that childlike mind combined with growing up, and combining the two and applying it to life and what you're wanting to get up to. And I think the reason why it feels hard to walk away from it, one, because it's kind of something that we just kind of learned, so we just think, oh, that's just how it's meant to go. But I think another thing is consensus, and there's so much consensus of you're meant to do this in that way, like they're supposed to do things, that when you kind of choose to, for example, let's just take an example, having children, whether it's a female or a male, like that is just one of those things that you're supposed to do. That's what coming to the world, like, you know, at one point we're going to have our own children. But there are some people who would prefer or just have no desire to have children, and that is completely okay. But because there's such a big agreement on, but that is how it's meant to go, when you step aside from it, there's this kind of, it can occur, sometimes like people get attacked for it, like what, how can you do that? And sometimes people get attacked for it because those who think you're supposed to do it, they feel like maybe their sense of
they're being questioned about what's right.
Exactly.
It's questioning them.
Versus it being okay, like, okay, look, this is what you want to do, you want to have children, and this is what I want to do, I don't really want to have children, and that being okay, and it both coexisting.
It is really hard. And I actually, now that you say that, I've read a lot of articles. I actually read two, I should say, these two women that are young, they're like 27, 28, and they've written articles about how they don't want kids, and they're really, really firm on it. And one actually had she got her tubes tied, which means she won't be able to. And she came under attack from all of these other women that said stuff like, oh, you're making a mistake, wait till you're older, you'll regret this, you don't know what you're doing. And it was really, she was talking about her experience, how she's made her life choice. She doesn't want kids, she's really thought about it. Just doesn't factor into the life that she wants to have and the direction that she wants to go. That she has been attacked mercilessly because everyone's pretending to know what's better for her in her life. And making her age an issue because they think that she's too young to make that kind of decision. I think by the time you're 28, you've kind of got it. I mean, you're still a little bit of an idiot, but you've kind of got that sorted. Like, if you don't want kids, you don't want kids. And it was really sad reading her story, because she just said she doesn't even want to talk about it anymore because she just comes under fire for a choice that only affects her. It shouldn't be anyone else's business. I applaud that, because there are so many people that should not have children. There should be an exam for some idiots that have kids. and you think about this girl, and she's really thought about it, and she's been so mindful, and people just attack her. It's really sad.
I think it just comes down to people's reasons, like when it comes to everything, life, love life, whatever. Because if you think about it, like what's so important, what makes it so important to be in a relationship? What makes it so important to have kids? What is the reason? Some people don't even think I don't think people know their reasons for doing some of these things they do in relationships, or when they jump into things, or worrying about getting married. Like, they don't even know the reason why they want to get married. What is the actual reason for them making all of these choices that they're making? And they're slating this woman because she's made a choice that is her choice. And I think not enough people are making choices for themselves. They're pressurized by what other people think, and that's their reasons for doing what they do. So they want a boyfriend because everyone else says they should have a boyfriend by now. And that's their reason. But it's not the reason that they choose in from themselves. And I think more so that's what's happening in relationships, is that some people get into relationships with the wrong reason to get with that person. It's more like a convenience. Okay, I'm just going to fill this void that's in my life right now. I've filled that gap. Great. What am I going to do now? Okay, I can have kids now. That's great. I don't really love this guy, but he's convenient for now, and he's allowed me to get to that stage where My parents are not going to be, slating me now. I've finally got someone in my life now. They can leave me alone now. Finally, I've met a guy. That's one box ticked. And I think if people are more courageous about their choice and not worried about what other people think, they will make, wise choices. And I want to talk more about you, Anna, because obviously with you, you made a choice, and
I made it really quickly.
Yeah, and you made it very quickly. Yeah, and like for some people, obviously they may have things about that you can't make a choice that early. I mean, there'd be loads of reasons why people might think that that's not the right way to go about it. You have to wait longer. You have to wait this, that.
We copped it quite a bit.
Yeah, but I don't think that it's fixed. So I want to hear how that was for you.
We copped it quite a bit because, and Ashley, you don't know, but my husband and I got married after 3 months of knowing each other. The reason for getting married, I can give you really good reasons why I want to have kids, because I've really, really thought about that. But getting married, it wasn't something I needed to really think about very much, because I knew when I met him that he was it for me. And I'd been not in 100 different relationships, but I'd been in relationships that had showed me really, really bad sides of myself, and I'd been in a relationship that showed me a nice side of myself, but it wasn't exactly 100% right. And then I met Chris, and everything about it was right. And it's not like we don't fight. We fight occasionally, quite a lot, because we're quite different people, but there was nothing to think about. I knew 100% that it was the right decision, and that it was something that was going to be good for me, because he makes me, I don't want to say better, he makes
the best you.
He makes the best me, yeah. I am the best me when I'm with him, and that's mate, that was it. And we copped it a lot. The first thing that people thought about was that I was pregnant and he was doing the right thing. So a lot of people asked him. They didn't ask me, which I thought was, I don't know, I was kind of like half, well, that's nice, thanks, but then the other half, that's pretty crap that you're going behind my back and doing it. I felt bad. I felt bad for him too, because people kept asking if I was, because they couldn't understand it any other way. Like, they couldn't understand that it was just two people that wanted to do it. And then after a while, when I wasn't showing any signs of being pregnant, I think they were really wary and not understanding. But they were people that were...
norm, was it? It wasn't the norm.
It wasn't the norm, because 3 months, like from when we met to when we got married, is pretty quick. But no, I can see that. Like, I'm sure, had I not gone through the experience myself, I'd make some kind of judgment, because it is a bit strange, it is a bit weird. But our friends, people that spent time with us, that knew us, there was no doubt. Like, it made perfect sense to the people that spent time with us. And I was just on holidays last week, and my father-in-law was here, and I was talking, and my brother-in-law as well, and I was talking to my brother-in-law, and I said,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Could you hear me before?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I could hear you. No.
Because I was saying some stuff before.
Oh.
When?
Okay, no. Maybe it was because I had my headphones in.
Oh,
Sorry.
I
wanted to continue, but just at one point when you said, "Oh, that felt kind of weird," in terms of you and your husband getting married early, or within 3 months.
Yeah.
What is that in relation to? Because that's in relation
weird.
To what's supposed
weird to the norm, right? Weird to not to what you're supposed to do, but weird to what you see. Because you do see people, and the reason I understand that is because marriage is something nowadays. Marriage is something nowadays that there's like a 50% divorce rate, and people cheat, and it becomes about the party or about the ring or about the dress, or like what you were saying before, like, oh, this guy's all right, this will do. I'm this age, I should be married. And so people do take a lot of time, because you need to get to know this person if you're going to make that kind of commitment. And my best friend got married this year, at the beginning of this year, and I found this perfect quote that said, marriage is the most grueling test of integrity you will ever have, because you promise something, and you've promised something in this moment where you feel a certain way, but you've promised it forever. So it doesn't matter how you change or who you become, you've got to keep this promise for all the different types of Annas that there are going to be down the road, because I'm changing all the time, and how I feel changes, and how I think
so interesting what you
changes.
said there.
And I've promised that through all of those changes, I'm going to stay here. And so, yeah, I get why people think that you need a lot of time
Do you think that
to get to know someone.
why there's 50% divorce rate?
Why? Because people take too long to get to know each other, or because there's no integrity?
Because, well, the integrity side and the promises that are made forever in relation to, okay. So here's this promise that's made that I make to you, that I'm gonna hold forever. There could be a point though in that time, as you said, different Annas might show up, different Ashleys are showing up as well, like we're growing, etc., where me sticking to that promise in relation to my wife now is no longer integrity for me. Then what? And
I don't know.
You mean if you can see that it's not working, it's not in a direction that is allowing you both to be naturally
there might be a
who
point where,
Who you are,
there might be a point in that journey where it actually is no longer when I say beneficial, and I don't mean because that means the marriage has failed, it's wrong, etc. I just mean,
You mean healthy for you? I know what you mean.
yeah, or for both.
Yeah.
And it might be a point where it is to now no longer be together, or the other thing where there are promises that are made, but those promises also evolve as myself and my wife grow, because what I may promise now may be perfectly in alignment with the time that we're at in our life, and it might be a new time to now create a new promise and a new vow, or for that same vow, but to evolve in terms of now where we're at in our life. And so the journey still keeps going on where you are married and there is no divorce. But maybe I don't even know what was I saying. Oh yeah, I was just saying about, is that maybe right?
I know what you mean, because you're wanting to say that what happens if down the road the promise that you've made no longer fits with your integrity to yourself, right? And I completely get that, and that's a valid question, that's a valid point. I don't know, but for me, I made this promise. I made this promise not like a Ponzi promise, not like I'm gonna love you forever, or we're gonna be so happy forever. I made it more like, regardless of what's happening, I'm gonna work really, really hard so that we can change and grow together, and we can be together doing this. Because the thing is, I'm not just thinking about me and my integrity as a person, but I'm thinking about the family that I want to make. And I think that it's a part compromise. Can I do absolutely everything that I did when I was single? Let's put like shagging other people aside. Let's put it like, could I go and pick up and go and live in New York right now? Or could I decide to do yoga teacher training for 2 months? Maybe not, because it disrupts my family life. So there are things that I can't 100% do, but I don't mind compromising that because I'm sharing my life with someone. And I think that obviously I don't want to sacrifice my integrity as a person. If it got to that stage, I think you'd need to work to get out of there. because you don't want to sacrifice your happiness and your well-being and your health, your mental sanity to be in a marriage. That's not successful. But my promise is that I'm going to work at it so that it doesn't get there. And that's what you need to do. I feel, and I'm just talking about me, obviously in my relationship, I feel like as long as we work at letting each other be who we are and grow, and it's hard, man. Like sometimes I look at Chris and I think I have no idea where you're coming from with this. I really don't. I just, those blanks where you're just like, really, I don't get this. But I have to try really, really hard to understand it because it's valid to him. It means something to him, or it's real to him, and vice versa. Like, all the things that are going through my mind, I've got to be allowed to be who I am here. And I think that's what I don't think I know. I promised to work through and keep us in a place where there's a balance and we're working together to be happy together.
I think this is why I said that you inspire me, and this is why I'm so glad you're on this show, or on this conversation, sorry, because when you talk about you and Chris, you say the things that you say about Chris, it just lets me know that you're so happy that you made this choice, that you're married to him, and you're just very clear. Like, it always sounds very clear to me. I've never seen any doubt whatsoever whenever I've spoken to you and you've spoken about Chris, and it just looks so authentic here. And the interesting thing as well is the things that you say that you don't get in your relationship, and the arguments that you do have, and the imperfections that are in your relationship. That what stopped me from going into relationships was those things that you're talking about that you have with Chris, that doesn't always, you don't always agree on the same things. You're not exactly the same, you said. And I was thinking that, your soulmate, you had to be exactly the same. Maybe you don't, or maybe you do. Maybe some people it works for them to be exactly the same. They like the same things. And maybe sometimes it works for people and it just makes sense that they don't like the same things, but they still work. And I always thought that you had to be exactly the same as someone else to be with someone, and that was what I was waiting for. And that's why that was my story in my head. Oh, she has to be exactly like me.
I've met people like that though. Like, I think that you're right. I think you can have both. Like, and I shouldn't say this to you, we met this couple that are exactly the same, and for us it was kind of, they work and they're really happy, but for us it was kind of a little bit revolting because they were just so in tune. It was just like one person, and it was hard to be around because you felt like you were just with one person. You didn't feel like there was anything different between the two of them. And it works. Like, they're happily married and they're fine. But then, I remember when my aunt was visiting. She was here a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling her that I'm constantly worrying about things. Like, I think about things a lot, and I think too much about things to the point where it's just, I feel like my head's gonna pop and I can't control any of it. I just like thinking about all these different scenarios that could possibly happen, from something really stupid to something really life-changing. And Chris will kind of just look at me and go, no, like, you don't need to think everything through, just stop thinking, or this will happen and then it'll be fine. And sometimes that attitude to me can be very annoying, because I think, well, cool, let's just like la-di-da through life and not think about anything. But then at other times it's really calming, and I realized that that's the balance that I need. I need someone to pull me back and go, actually, babe, even if you think about it for the next week straight, you can't control any of it, so just stop. And I need, if I had another me, oh my God, I think I would have exploded. I think I totally would have exploded. And I think that for us it works really well because he is quite laid back, and sometimes he does need a nudge, and sometimes he does need someone to say, actually, no, you need to, it'd be good if you did this, this and this. And that nudge is good for him, because if he had someone that was completely laid back, I don't know if a lot of things would get done, which would be funny, but I think it can work both ways. I think it can totally work both ways. And if you find someone that compliments you and that has the things that you might like, skills that you just don't have, I'm not a laid back person. I'm never going to be a like go with the flow I need to plan and think things through, like in my mind. Even if, you know, I don't know, I've become that way. I wasn't that way, like I was saying, when I was younger, but I've become that way. And I need someone to just bring me back down a little bit and say, calm down. So it can work both ways, I think. Like, you can have successful marriages or successful relationships both ways, for sure.
It's interesting.
But maybe don't just target chicks that are just like you, because you might miss out.
I know, Ashley. I know you've mentioned, Ashley, before that you do want there's someone who's like you. So how do you feel about this? And do you still feel that there's something you're pursuing? Or have you seen a different way of it looking now?
Well, it's not something I'm pursuing, but as in, I feel that it really comes down to whatever works for the individual. Really, I don't think it's like with what Anna's just said. It's like, okay, so it's definitely got to be that way. And the way that how it is for me, in the sense of, I like spending time with girls who are quite similar to me. And if I was to be in a relationship or get married, I would like to actually marry a female version of me. And I think that's not a right way or a wrong way. I think that's just what speaks to me, and then for someone else, there's what speaks to them. And for me, the reason why I see that is just because, why? I mean, that's just what's kind of there for me, and I feel like there would be a balance. And I feel like I would still experience growth as well, because for me, as in just experiencing myself, but as being myself, I can sometimes be my most amazing best friend / angel, and sometimes I can be my worst enemy, a complete jerk, like as in myself to myself. And so, like, I feel, but in terms of both of those sides, the qualities that are present, I feel that's what I'm like, that is what I would like to experience if I was to, well, not, I mean, I used to just have it as like, when I'm in a relationship or when I get married, but like, no, now, like, any girls who I spend time with, I'd like to experience some of those kind of qualities. I feel like it would just match together and enhance.
Do you mean like, because I agree with you there. See, this is different. If you mean qualities, then I agree that someone with the same qualities as you and values as you, definitely. But sorry, I meant more like character difference, because I grew up with a lot of Jewish people in Sydney. Had a lot of Jewish mates, and there was this reoccurring theme with the girls in particular, that they would only want to marry Jewish boys, and the boys would say the same thing, because it was just something that their families instilled in them. It wasn't anything, it was just, we really love our culture, we really we love the social aspect, the religion. We want a Jewish household. The only way really to try and achieve this, and this is just, I don't want to be inflammatory here, this is just how they thought, would be to marry someone who is, part of the Jewish faith. And I always thought that they were kind of limiting themselves. But the older I get, I realize how important it is to meet someone that has the same values as you, and that to me is a little bit different when it comes to characters. Like I said, you couldn't meet two different people, more different people between my husband and I. But when it comes to values, we're on board when it comes to the big things. And I think that in that sense, I agree with you. Like, I couldn't be with someone whose values or morals was so different from mine, because you're gonna clash on things, that the big things, like, hey, what do you think about donating to charity, or what do you think about helping people, or where do you stand on this and this and this subject? And that's kind of different. And people always say to you, it's easier if you're from the same cultural background, or if you're from the same religion or same social class, all of those things, right? that this is like proven statistic that your marriage will be more successful if you have the same background or the same, religion, or the same, what was the other one? Background, religion, social, economic situation. But you can find that across any culture. Like, Chris is German, I'm Australian, Colombian, Chris is German, and when it comes to values, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And I agree with you there. Like, I would find it difficult to be with someone who on the big questions in life is really, really different from me, because you're gonna have problems. You think differently. It's gonna create an issue and things that that you need to share in life, and that you need to make decisions on together, and you're affecting other people if you have a family. And I don't know how you would meet in the middle for stuff like that.
Yes, I hear that, but it's still the same for me in the sense of, like, for example, you were saying about how for you have to plan. Like, it's not really something for you where you can go with the flow. Whereas with Chris, he can be like, just don't think about it. It's just relax. He's laid back. Mm-hmm. Well, so I'm whatever you would term those. Like, is that what you term as character or quality?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I would say that would be character.
Yeah. So in terms of things like that, I do mean that as well, because I know I can be super laid back, but I also know I can be the complete opposite as well. And so for me, I just see. I see for me, and when I say someone similar, that doesn't mean exactly like me, but I just see the way I'd be able to bounce and the growth that we both would experience together. And also as well, just because some of the part of the character that I have and the qualities that I have, I like. And so I'm like, I want to see that in a reflection of the female as well as what else they're gonna have too, and whatever else they're gonna bring as well, because I'm very clear there's so much different ways people can be, and also people's expression as well. Like, how I might express me laid back, someone else may express it in a completely different way as well. So
but Anna, I hear you on that, Ash, because it all comes down to the individual. Like, as we've always said, like, we're all individuals at the end of the day. We all have our journey. And with Anna, for yourself, did you have it that you wouldn't meet someone like Chris in the way that you've met Chris? Before you'd met Chris, did you think that it would be possible to meet someone who didn't have the same characteristics, like you mentioned, that that he has, but you still work together? You still work very well. Did you have it that character was quite important before you got into this?
No, to be perfectly honest, I remember this so vividly. It was probably a week before I met Chris, like, properly. I was at brunch, and I was with all my girls just having brunch, and they mentioned that my ex had just bought an apartment, and I was out of a really, really bad relationship. It was quite toxic. We were together for quite a while, and we'd been apart for nearly a year, and then I'd heard that he bought this apartment, and I was having a really, really rough go at work. I was really hating my job, and I was miserable, and earning a pittance, and kind of struggling and living in a country that wasn't my own. And I remember sitting there at brunch thinking, I'm 30, or I was like 3 weeks away from turning 30, and I thought, it's just shit. Like, job's shit, love life's crap, they're all psychos, and I just can't. I had gone on a few dates and had met some serious creepers, and I just thought, there's just nothing out there, and my job is awful, and I'm struggling, and my ex is clearly just like sailing through life. He's just bought an apartment, killing it. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, you know, nothing's going to work out. I was in a really, not in a bad place, but just in a very, I was in a cynical place. I didn't really think that I was going to meet someone. I didn't think that I would meet someone that would be so spot on what I needed and what was right for me. I was in a funny place where I just thought my life wasn't going in the direction that I wanted at the time.
Wow.
It was a really weird time, especially not, I don't know, I mean, you know what it's like living in a country that isn't your own. I think it makes you a bit more vulnerable, you know. It's not your stomping ground, it's not, I don't know, you just feel a little bit with a little bit less skin, you know, like you're more exposed. You don't have that safety net of your family or anything like that, and I think it just makes you a bit more fearful, you know, which isn't good. But that's kind of where I was, and I just remember thinking, no, it's all going to shit, and my life's over, and you know, it's not I can't figure out how to get out of this, and then a week later everything changed. So
and what, because hearing that, it sounds like, because my topic, actually, my subject that I wanted to speak about today was timing.
Okay.
I've been thinking about timing and how important timing is, and it seemed like Chris came into your life at a time when you were ready for Chris. And did he ever mention to you what it was like for him in terms of timing? Like, what was it that made him feel that it was the time for you to get married to him? I mean, what did he have any obstacles that he may have felt that, you know, it just led you both to the same, you know, to be on the same page right at that point? Because you might have met him a year before that, and he might have been timed right. You see what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. Well, I think for me, I'd had enough time apart. I'd been enough out of that relationship that I mentioned to clear my head and get all of that out. Because I think you need to. I did my stint at being single. That wasn't the time, but I've been alone, and I know who I am alone. I've been for quite a long time without anyone, not even dating, because I think sometimes you just need to figure out how to be alone and who you are as a person without being attached to anyone, even if it is casual. So for me, like, romantically, I was fine. I was quite resourceful. But I think that for both of us, we're quite strong people, and we're quite what's the word? I'll say strong in the sense that we don't.
Yeah, I definitely
we won't really open up straight away. And the fact that I was in a country that wasn't my own, and Chris was in a country that wasn't his own, made us, like I was saying before, a little bit more vulnerable. You know, a little bit different. Like, you let people in just a little bit more than you would if you were at home. You take notice a bit more.
Yeah.
And Chris had an interesting story too, because he'd been in this particularly long relationship, over like 10 years, and it never felt right for him to move forward with that and to lead that down like the marriage road or whatever. And he'd moved to Canada as well, you know, in search of something new and to have a different life. And I think that mindset, if you want to talk about timing, that mindset really makes you more open.
Yeah.
And it makes you see things or do a double take a bit more than you would if you lived at home or if you were in your own country or whatever it is. The fact that you're kind of more still and you don't have your old mates from school, you're a bit more fresh, it makes you more willing to open up.
Yeah.
And I think that's timing for sure. Timing played a huge part, because we were both in a space where we were ready for each other in that sense. Definitely.
That's incredible. And Ash, like for timing, on your part, the reason why I mentioned timing, I want to talk about the male perspective of timing, because like obviously we're both single at the moment, and I'll say that for myself, the place that I'm at the moment is that I feel like there's more work that I want to do on my journey with myself first before I say I'm going to be in a relationship with this person, or I'm going to be in a relationship with that person, or making decisions like that now. And that's like any girl that comes to my life now, it's just going to be whatever's going to be now. But there's going to be a time where I'm ready for everything. I'm ready for family life, and I'm ready for all of these things. I'm not saying that it's going to be in 2 years' time. It might be in 6 months' time, but there might come a point in my journey where I'm going to be ready for everything. And the person who's there beside me at the time, whoever I might be dating at that time, or any other girls that I date on this journey, there will be a time where I realize, you know what, this is it. I want to do it now. Now, timing for us is different to a female's perspective of timing, because the girl that, for example, girl that I was seeing, her timing is that she wants to settle down now. Yeah, I don't want to settle down now, so the timing's out. But next year I might be ready, like she was ready, but it might be too late to be with her because she might have moved on to someone else. So I just want to hear your perspective on what you think timing, how important timing is for you, because for me, I just feel like I'm not ready for a relationship now. As much as, you know, there could be 10 girls in a line saying, Mike, we want you. Like, it's just the time is not now for me, because I just feel like there's things with myself that I want to address. I want to address some of the choices that I make, and like, I might be able to do that with someone else and someone support me. That I get that, but I will get that when it comes. When that person's in my life, I will know, okay, this person could be on the journey with me as well on this. But for the moment, there's just things that I really just want to, I don't want to bring luggage. I think that's what it is. I don't want to bring too much luggage into, I want to be very authentic about everything, and you don't judge me for it, but you more support that. So I'm not going to be like, I'm going to try and make you think that I'm the perfect guy for you. Like, I don't really want to fit in that box. I don't want to be.
But you're kind of trying to do that.
No, but no.
By trying to have everything ready.
No, not everything ready, but being ready. Not everything ready. Like, I mean, I don't mean I want to have.
Being has nothing to do with what you would have had done.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, in terms of the timing.
Yeah.
What I mean is, like, I don't want to.
In terms of when you say timing, you mean in terms of particular things in place, right?
No, well, no, in place of myself. Not that I'm achieving a certain amount a year, or that I've finally got a car now. Nothing like that.
What
because I'll be comfortable being in it. It'll be
how you feel.
The things, yeah, how I feel about choices that I've made in the past, and being okay, like.
All right, let me just ask you this, Junior. Let me ask you this. Okay. So I'm aware that having some form of partnership, having a partnership is something you would like in your life at some point. That's an expression for you.
Very nice,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're aware you'd like to have a partnership. Would you like to have a partnership with someone now? Now, forget about whether you have any girls in your life. That's irrelevant. Or whether you do. Would you, just like in terms of where you're at in your life, would you like to have a partnership? And try and answer that question without thinking. And when I say without thinking of particular conditions that you want to have in place.
Yeah, this is tricky.
That's why there's a specific reason why I said without thinking.
Yeah, because I'm thinking now, and then as I was thinking, but I'm thinking now, so that's going against what. Okay, I'll tell you what the issue is. I do want partnership, but I'll tell you what the issue is that's stopping me from going for partnership, and it's not going to be there forever. But I just have trust issues in it, and like I know that that's with me. That's nothing to do with women. I think women are queens.
That other stuff you was just coming out with then coming from.
Yeah. That was about
because that really has nothing to do with it.
In a way. What do you mean, the luggage? You mean?
No.
Yeah, like the timing stuff.
The timing. What you said about timing and like having certain things, and like there's a girl in my life who like she'd like a relationship now, but you don't want one now. But in a year's time, you might want one, but she may not want one. Like all of that.
Yeah, I get that. I made a story there. But it where that came now where it came from is that.
Came from thinking.
Yeah, it came from thinking.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. Overthinking, because I'm not trying to make it sound like not to think.
No, because I'm really good at overthinking, and it's just I'm just really starting to get that there has been great women that have come into my life, and I just felt like the timing was out. It's just that I wasn't at the place that I wanted to be in my life to do that journey with them.
But you just
where do you want to be?
But you've just said now it's trust issues.
Yeah, it's trust issues. It's really...
Can I ask though, where do you want to be? Like, if you put these girls aside for whatever reason and said it's not working, where did you want to be?
I want to be in a place where I'm happy with I'm happy with my choices. Like I'm not saying all of my choices are going to be great choices, but I mean just really comfortable that I made the choice myself. It wasn't like manipulated.
Like being with them is your choice? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I want to be able to be very clear that when I make the choice of being with someone or doing something, that it really wasn't manipulated. It was really like I really felt like I wanted that. And
can I ask you a question? Yeah. When you meet someone, do you go through that whole process? Like, do you just spend time with them, or do you think to yourself, I'm entering a relationship now, this is a big deal, I've got to think about this, am I happy with my choices, am I where I want to be? Or do you just be with them?
I be with them, but I be with them and try to. I think my main goal, I'll tell you where I want to be. I want to be a father, and like that's the ultimate goal. That's the only reason why a relationship or partnership, whatever you want to call it, is quite important. Like I think just fatherhood would be something that I would like to experience.
But
in
you
my
realise
life.
That's distinctively different to having to a partnership and a relationship. I get that the two may combine and mix together, but they are two distinct.
Like a relationship will lead you there, but
yeah, and I don't want it to be that. I want it to more like I feel like I've been trying to find the mother of my child versus just meeting women and enjoying the moment for where it is, and then just see how things go, and if it feels right, they might want the same thing as well. Eventually, we may be able to have a family, but I find myself really filtering that if they don't appear to come across like someone who I can have as a mother of my child, and vice versa, me being a father as a whole, that's what slows me down, and that's what makes me overthink, and that's what makes me be the way I am.
But you come
out a lot of pressure to put on yourself.
But it's kind of my pressure, and it's my thing, and I don't want to bring it into a partnership or relationship. So that's why when I say I'm not ready, that's what I mean. Is that I know that that's something that I have to deal with, like, because it's my issue. Like, it's not anyone else's issue. It's not any of the girls' fault. Like, I mean, the last two relationships I was in, especially the first one, she wanted a child. Like, it wasn't that she didn't want that. I wasn't ready for even that. That was obviously a different conversation for me at the point.
Yeah, but now this conversation of like, am I ready? Timing. It's not that they're not valid. It's just like you're using those things as kind of like reasons or even like excuses around what you actually may truly want. Like, you right now in this conversation, you're not actually even not yet anyway, you're not actually being raw about, okay, this is actually really what I want. Like, you're hinting at what you want. Like, you want fatherhood, yeah, you really like to have a partnership, but then you're saying all that other stuff as well, and it's like, it's really as simple as, okay, so you know you want to have children at some point in your life, and you're clear that you'd like to have a partner at some point in your life, and they're two separate things, but combined they'll combine together.
I don't see them as separate.
So do you mean to tell me the only way you can have children is if you are in a partnership?
I don't feel
the only
like
way you can be a father. Sorry, let me.
No. I'm not saying that's how. No, but I don't. Me being a father means that I want to be a family man, and that means that I'm gonna have to want to.
Yeah, I get all of that.
Really clearly, you know. So I mean, like, I don't really. I'm not saying. I do get that something could happen where I have a child with someone.
No, that's not the scenario I'm trying to point out.
I get that.
I'm not even trying to point that scenario out. I'm just pointing out being a father is different to being a husband. They may happen at the same time.
Can I say something? Oh, sorry, Ashley. No, sorry. Keep going. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, go on.
I think that I really admire that you want to be a family man and that you want to have kids, because not a lot of guys your age would say that. And I think that it's really nice, because wanting to have kids is awesome. But I think that bringing kids into the world, and from what you've said, you want to do it in a partnership with someone. I think that the most stable home that you can make is making sure that you're solid with the person that you're bringing these kids into the world with. And sometimes you don't see every angle of a person if you are just filtering upon meeting them or a month or 2 months. Sometimes people grow into being parents or grow into a mother or father figure. That's not something that's always evident. So I think you might need to just push that fatherhood thought to the side. Not kill the dream by all means. I don't mean that at all. But I think that you need to focus on who would make you happy as a person, who would be good for you, who's going to make the best Mike. And then when you've got that, or when you feel that with someone, then you can look. Because if all of that's good and you guys work as a team, the biggest thing is that you've got to be a team. You've got to be solid. Then you can look at kids, and you can look at bringing someone into the world. Because then you're going to have your teammate, and you're going to be sweet, and you're going to be a family. But I think that if you're looking at chicks and you're thinking, oh, is she motherly enough, or
no, not as a mother. No, the mother of my child means not that she's not going to be that she doesn't seem like she'd be a mother kind. I mean that I can see her, and I can see us being parents to our child more so. That's more what I mean. I didn't.
You could probably even see that kind of vision. Don't you think you've got to kind of see the vision of, me and her, I can see me and her actually spending the rest of our lives together, or being in a partnership together? Don't you think you need to kind of see that vision first, or that vision?
No, yeah, I definitely don't have it that there's 1 and then 2 and then 3, like in those kind of particular steps. But it's just letting you know that the end goal, really, like when we talk about end goal,
but it
like
won't be an end goal. Once that baby pops out, it's not like, oh, goal's done.
No, I don't mean end goal.
That's gonna keep
going
until
you know what they mean, like when you say like what you kind of want to get to. Like, I'm not saying that when I get there, that's it, I'm gonna sit back and relax. I just mean that, like, once I'm in that place, that's a very comfortable place for me, and I'm not saying that I'm just gonna relax, but I just mean that there's nothing more after that, other than obviously things that will come up in your journey as you live in life that are spontaneous. That's the one thing that's after that. I just feel like I'm okay. Like, I'm really satisfied that I've done all these things. Like the one thing that I'd be happy to know that I've done before I die. Like that's kind of what I mean by end goal. I'm not saying that if I don't have that and that, you know, like, oh no, I didn't get to do that. But it is something that if I can experience, that's the only thing really that's there for me in terms of wanting to experience that I've not experienced yet. That I would like to experience. Is that and because it feels like the thing that is just really going to be, I'm a father now. Wow, I'm actually a father. And I'm thinking like, well, what comes after that? Well, obviously it's just going to be the journey of being a father and being with my partner or whoever that may be, and then whatever happens. But I don't really want to see past that, because past that just means I'm just going to be in that moment as it comes. I'm fine with that, but there is still obviously me looking into the future. If I look into the future, that's the last thing I can see is fatherhood. That will make me very happy. That I can see in the future. Everything else, obviously, between now and whenever I pass away, it's just really me always looking at that. I'm always seeing that ahead and thinking like, when is that going to come? Who's it going to be? I'm always inquiring, who's it going to be? Like, and it's just an issue for me, innit? So it's just me saying that there is no right and wrong what I'm saying, and I do overthink, and yes, these things come up.
I just want to say,
but
I know, like, it's not that I don't want to keep hearing you, right? But you're kind of self-sabotaging yourself a little bit, because with this figuring out that you're doing in regards to the females and stuff, like you're saying that because it's like you're going back and forth, because you said for you until you feel ready in terms of a relationship, because you don't trust, and you're not dealing with your trust issues because
I am. That's why I'm saying I'm not ready, because
no, but saying you're not ready is not dealing with your trust issues. That's just acknowledging.
But yeah, what I mean is that until I deal with the trust issue, I won't be ready for a partnership. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
May I ask what the trust issues are?
Yeah, you can. So I have this, like, I mean, I'm only saying these things because I want to address the issue rather than just hide away from it, and I want to see two people's perspective from outside seeing it. This is going to help me get through it. So that's why I mention it now. But where the trust issue comes from is that I always felt that I'm convenient for women. Like, any woman that's come in my life, I always felt there's a convenient level of that. I'm convenient for them until they get someone else that fits exactly who they want to be with.
That's a self-esteem thing then, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I'm not saying it isn't. It's a self-esteem thing and also a trust thing, because I feel like I'm always looking to see if it is that I'm just convenient for someone. So I have a lack of trust for that person, as much as I don't want to have that. It is this feeling like, are you just waiting for a different? Are you just waiting to fill the gap? And they're not. Maybe they're not. But that's just how it's felt for me. And it's obviously because of one of the relationships I came out of. Someone who said that she was in love with me was able to have a family with someone else within 6 months. Someone that said that was in love with me said that. So it was like I felt like I was convenient. So I'd always felt.
But did you not say that she wanted to have that with you?
Yeah, but
you weren't ready.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm trying to say is that.
So wait, did you just get that?
I do get that. Yeah.
Are you sure?
No, like,
are you sure?
You need to listen to Ashley again.
She
wanted something from you.
With you.
Sorry, you go. Sorry.
Sorry, that's all right. We can both say it at the same time.
No, she wanted something from you, and you didn't want to give it to her because you weren't ready. So she went and got it from the convenient guy who gave it to her. So you weren't the convenient guy. You were the guy that she wanted to do that with, but couldn't because you know. So she went and picked someone who ended up being convenient for her and gave her what she wanted.
Can I just rephrase
now,
that?
Whatever state she's in, whether she loves him now or whatever, who knows? But she left because she couldn't get what she wanted from you, and you had control over that.
But,
Can I just rephrase a little bit of that?
yeah.
I think that was all great. Like, look, just so, okay, this is just to make it, okay. Blah, 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 blah. Tutti Fruities, okay? I like Tutti Frutti sweets. Okay, there's a shop around the corner where I know I can go get Tutti Fruities. I can go to that shop, but they might not have any. I could then have all the stuff that you just said, right? About like, no, I don't trust that shop, but they're not going to have it again and blah, blah. Or I could, all right, that shop doesn't have what I want. And now I'm going to move forward and I'm going to go to the next shop. And they might have the Tutti Fruities. And then I'm going to buy the Tutti Fruities. And then I'm going to enjoy the Tutti Fruities. Because the Tutti Fruities are something that I'd like in my life. Now, there's that shop that I usually like going to because they know me, I know them, we're friendly with each other, etc, etc. But if they now no longer supply those Tutti Fruities, I'm no longer going to keep going to that shop for Tutti Fruities. I'm trying to put it down. The reason why I'm saying it in this way, right, is it's because of people behave that way in life. Like, there are these things that we want in our lives, and in terms of, let me use this phrase because this might be able to relate to it more. In terms of like sexual experiences, Junior, there's been times where there's been more than one female where you've wanted to have a sexual experience with. Now, one might not have been ready at that time, but another one may have been ready, and so then you would have had sex with that girl.
Mike.
Yeah.
I think that I can relate to how sometimes you don't feel right for someone, and it can be a self-esteem issue because you don't think for whatever reason you're good enough or you're right, or maybe you're the convenient choice or whatever it is, right? You're not fitting, and they're not thinking of you like the one, or they're not thinking of you like you want them to think of you. But ultimately, you need to take this time, or maybe you should take this time to do what you want to do and explore all of your creative avenues, because you really are really creative, and it's admirable how much you do and how much you touch. But also remember, because of all of these things, the worth that it gives you and who you are, you are captivating and you're interesting and you do a lot, and that makes you unique. And any woman that gets to meet you, don't think that you're the convenient choice. Don't think about choice at all. If a woman wants to spend time with you, take it for what it is, that a woman wants to spend time with you. If you want to spend time with her, then let it work for what it is. It can be a week, a weekend, it can be 6 months, a year. But think nothing more of it. It's really special when someone asks you on a date, someone asks you out, because it takes courage, it takes a bit of balls. Even if it's the guy or the girl, it doesn't matter, because you're making yourself open to someone else to say no to you or to say yes to you. But don't overthink that. Just do it. Just feel it. Go on the date, shag her, spend a year together, spend a weekend. Don't think any further than that.
The thing is that that's what you're doing. I'm actually really, what I'm saying is, that when I overthink, it's because it's a seed being planted with any girl that I do have the experience with, that I'm not thinking with. And that when I'm not thinking exactly the things that you just said there, just think about your creativity, just go out there, have fun. I do those things. And there comes a point in a moment where you meet someone where what often happens to me is I'm in between friendship and someone who has potential to be with.
Maybe you stop the labels. That might help.
But I don't know where okay, if I'm seeing someone, if say you're seeing someone I don't want to label it, so I don't label it and I don't mention anything, and we just do what we're doing, and we just continue just doing what we do. We enjoy each other's time all the time.
Yeah.
But then if that person has a question for you or says to you, listen, I'm looking for this, and you seem like you're not looking for that, so I'm not sure where we're going with this, that question is always going to come up, always, if you're with someone and you're just having a casual encounter with them. But I'm never thinking until that question pops up. Never think. This is the reason why they bring the question up, because they like that I'm not thinking. But it makes me think when I'm in that situation.
But that's the thing. Okay, so then you get asked the question. So you're there, right?
Yeah.
So you've been spending time with this chick. It's going really well.
Yeah.
You're not thinking. You're enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
And chicks being chicks, she sits down and says, I'm kind of looking for a relationship.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah.
How do you feel in that moment? Why do you feel like you want one?
I feel exactly how I felt when I first came into it. That I want to just work on my creativity. I want to do my things.
How is she stopping you from doing that?
Exactly.
She isn't.
Because the thing is, if you're with someone that gives you like that breathing room, you can be as creative as you like. Because otherwise, every married couple would just be boring and not do anything. Like, people don't stop you from being creative. Toxic relationships stop you from being creative because all your energy is in a bad place. But someone that's good for you pushes you more.
But I just want to know why there has to be the transition with when the woman says to me, Mike, like I want a relationship, I'm looking for a relationship. And they
Probably
say those.
She doesn't want you shagging someone else.
Yeah, so the big thing is that they more so want to know that they're the only person that I'm dealing with at the time.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that if you sit there and really, really like someone and you love spending time with them, you want to maybe hope that they're not shagging anyone else.
Well, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I can't pinpoint a time where I slept with 2 girls at the same time, because I find it really hard to do that. And when I did do it, I'm trying to pinpoint, but I can't remember, but I'm sure I have done it once. And when I did do it, it was very uncomfortable to be with 2 girls at the same time. I can't do it. So the person I'm seeing right now is the only person I'm seeing.
But she might not know that, and if you're being really casual about it, then you might need to say.
So as much as here it comes, is about the communication then. So things like that conversation, is that something that should have to come up, even though I don't want to think about that? Because I'm just clear that I'm not sleeping with anyone else, and
Junior,
that's that.
Alright, Junior, look, come on now. Look, this is going around a little bit, okay? So, you know your creativity, for example, so your creativity, are there points? So there's points when you're clear, like, let's take the websites, okay? So you know you're gonna do a website. You're working on a website for a week. So today you're gonna work on a website, and then tomorrow you're gonna work on a website, and next day and next day. At some point in that week, or on some of those days, there's certain things you're gonna have to consider or think about in relation to that website, for its ongoing growth. Yeah. It's no different to when you're spending time with a girl. But you seem to put this heavy significance on being asked the question, where do you see this going? Or do you want us to be in or I'm looking for a relationship? Like, you're putting a massive significance. It's just a question. And all you've got to do is answer it honestly. But honestly for yourself, not for her. Because obviously if you answer it honestly for yourself, it's going to be for her. So you're saying you don't like, you've been not thinking. I'm sure in that time when you've been spending time with her, there's questions that she's asking you about things. Like, I'm sure she's maybe they'll ask you about your creativity, etc. So if the question comes up, hey look, blah 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 blah, I'm starting to like you even more and more, and I can see us being in a relationship together. How do you feel about that? Then all you actually have to do is answer honestly. if you continually, okay, I'm going to use this word, okay?
No, but I just want to understand what they think is going to achieve me saying yes, let's be in a relationship. What's going to change? Because we could just be the same way we are. Like,
why do you need to figure
that's not fair, because that's not fair, because if you want to be in a partnership with someone, and you've used that word a lot, if you want to be in a partnership with someone, you need to accept that they're going to want to look at things the way that they want to look at things. And if it's important to them to know, I disagree with you, Ashley. I think sometimes putting labels on things is okay. And I think that sometimes there are people that need it and there are people that don't. Sorry?
I didn't say it wasn't okay. I said you just doesn't.
Oh, sorry. I thought you did. I thought you shouldn't label anything.
No.
Okay, my bad.
Okay.
But I think sometimes it's okay to label things. It makes it clear for people, and that's sometimes what people need. Some people need it, some people don't. So if you happen to meet someone that says to you, hey, are we in a relationship now? Are we boyfriend and girlfriend? And they need that conversation, then you need to respect that that's what they need. You might not like it. I mean, and you might score and get a chick that's just like you, that doesn't need that conversation, and you could just not think about it ever. But you might just get a girl that needs that. And, Ashley's right. In that moment, she asks you a question like, are we in a relationship? Am I the only person you're shagging? Just answer it honestly. And then you can continue where you are. What I keep hearing when you say, I just want to focus on my creativity, that's excellent. But ideally, the person that you're with shouldn't take you away from it.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
like the person that you're with should push you more to be more creative, should inspire you more.
Well, they actually
so
do.
Don't use that as an excuse to not be in a relationship. If you need to be alone, okay, and I'm going to use myself as an example. I needed to be alone because I was in 2 very long-term relationships, and I was afraid that I didn't know who I was without being Burke's girlfriend or Stephen's girlfriend. And I was young, and I was scared that I needed to be alone because I needed to figure out me. And that's why I was alone. That was my reason. But if you're just saying, I want to be alone because of my creativity, make sure you're not using it as an excuse to actually just not have these conversations, which you seem to put a lot of focus on, when really it's just a fair question. Like, it's a fair question for her. She wants to know what's going on, and that's fair. And that doesn't mean marriage, and that doesn't mean babies. That just means, are we the only people that are shagging each other? Cool. Let's keep going with that. And then maybe 6 months down the track, hey, what would you think about maybe living together every day? Would that be a cool thing? And then you answer that honestly as well. Would you want that? Yes. You don't want it? Hey, babe, I don't really want it right now. Can we give it a bit of time? Like, I think communication's a really big thing.
Yeah.
And someone might have questions that you don't understand why they need to ask them. But that sometimes you don't need to understand why they ask them. It's important for them, and that's all you need to understand.
Yeah.
That it's important for them.
How about then? Sorry, go ahead.
Just quickly, I think if you can just remember to just keep being honest with yourself, and obviously, whoever's involved, but just keep being authentic. Just keep doing what's authentic for you. So you're clear in terms of like your creativity, what's really authentic for you. When you're spending time with a girl, you're very clear what's authentic for you. So when those, as you called it, transitions come up, in terms of whether it's a question about, all right, are we now going to be in a relationship together, or is it just it's still going to be a casual thing, or are we going to have children together now, or blah 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 blah. If you're just really authentic about what is there for you at that time in your life, and if it's a yes or a no, that's really all you need to consider. And until those moments come up, you're not going to know. So, for example, with this particular girl who's in your life right now, would you authentically like to be in a partnership with her? That's like the simple question, and there's a simple answer to it.
Not really. It's not always that simple.
Why? How is it not simple?
It is. It actually is. Why?
It is.
Why isn't it?
Would you like to be in a partnership with her? Or would you like her to be your or let's say that would you like her to be your partner? Because you're where you would like a partnership in your life. Would you like her to be your partner?
I'd like to get to know her more. That's what I like.
But I'm asking you a direct question.
But I don't know the answer to it,
yeah,
man,
you
because
do.
I'm not that far ahead yet.
But it's got nothing to do with being far ahead. We're talking about right here, right now, in your life, where you're at. This particular girl, would you? And sorry, maybe I'm putting you on the spot because I've just realised, obviously.
No, I don't mind because this is raw. Like, this is exactly how I want it to be.
But yeah,
to be like
would you like?
That's how I feel right now.
Would you like her to be your partner, or you could? No, yeah. Let me stay with that first.
She doesn't want to be in a relationship with me.
No, I'm not. See, Junior.
I know.
You're doing.
And what I'm trying to
Listen
say,
to my question. Answer my question, and then you can say the other stuff first. After. My question to you is: would you like her to be your partner?
I actually don't know.
Yes, you do.
Then you don't.
No, but the thing is, like, questions. No, questions that are yes or no's. I'm not really into that because sometimes you just don't know. There's some things we just don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow when I leave the house.
No, I don't know.
That's a different kind of question.
That's a cop out. I'm so sorry.
It feels like that.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay.
Junior, at the moment in your life,
there you go.
The answer's no then.
Thank you. That's it. It's that simple. And there's nothing wrong with it being no. And as you rightfully said at one point in the conversation, you said, like, in 6 months to a year, it might be different. And it might be.
It might be, yes. So
it might be. But right now, we're not 6 months down the line or a year down the line. We're here now. And this is not me trying to say about, like, being in the now moment thing. I'm just talking about at the moment in your life. That's what you're clear about. Just like you're clear about at the moment, the main thing that you want to do, and if I'm wrong, tell me, but from what you was telling me the other day, is working on websites around your creativity. Like, that's the main thing you want to be working on. That's a clarity that you have. Now,
I see.
That's the simplicity of it, June.
You say that, but
Mike.
But our mind doesn't want to accept.
Yeah.
If she's not willing to be in a relationship right now, and you don't want to be in a relationship right now
with me, she's not willing to be in a relationship with me.
With you,
yeah.
Then, and you don't want to be in one either with her. Then why can't you just enjoy each other's company?
That's that's what I want to do.
Exactly.
But then has she asked you to be in a relationship?
No.
Then what's the problem?
No, she I think there was an element of her wanting to be with me at one point, and then she decided that it wasn't something that she was there for. When we spoke, she came to the conclusion that she realized that she doesn't want to be with me.
Okay,
and that's a conversation that came up for her. But since then we've still seen each other, and we're still in a beautiful place. I still get to, I still treat her the way I treated her. There's nothing that's really changed. But what's changed for me now is that we're just riding along on this journey, and I do like her. I really, really care about her. But you asked me the question, do I want to be in a partnership with her? It's like, right now I don't want to be in a partnership with anyone at the moment. Like, I just don't want to be in a partnership with someone at the moment.
That's fine.
In the general term, I mean, I'm in a partnership with her now, really, in a way, because I am spending a lot of time with her and I'm seeing her quite often. In a way, I am in a partnership with her. But in terms of the initial, like, having kids with her and all these things, like, this is the thing that I'm talking about. That I don't want that partnership now. That level of partnership now. I just want to let it flow. But that's why I think you're making life.
I think you're making life a little bit tough with this fatherhood. I know that it's the end goal. I completely understand that. Trust me, I feel the same way. I really, really want a family. I really, really want to have kids. And I have all these really good reasons why. But I feel like you are at a stage in your life where there is no need right now to think about that. You know that that's the goal that you want. But in order to get to it, you're going to jeopardize yourself, and you might jeopardize relationships, thinking that every person that you see, you have to start thinking about that. And I think that maybe don't complicate yourself right now. Don't complicate the stage that you're in. If you meet someone and you want to spend time with them, spend time with them. Ask yourself, you really hit it on the head. Be really authentic. Be really honest. Sometimes it's so much better to cause a day of hurt by being honest than to live a couple of months out in a really uncomfortable situation for both people, not just you. Don't complicate yourself. You're spending time with this chick, spend time with this chick. If another chick comes along and she grabs your attention for whatever reason, and I'm not even being sinister and making it about like looks or sex or anything like that, but for whatever reason she grabs your attention, well, you're a free agent and you can spend time with this person and see how that evolves and answer all the questions that you get asked honestly, and it will be more natural that way than filtering through. Even if you say you're not, it sounds like you are a little bit mentally filtering through. And that's just, it's going to hinder you. It'll hinder the potential that you could have with someone. Have fun with that.
I really am having fun. I'm having so much fun. As she knows, I've told him a lot about this. I'm having so much fun with this person. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think
I've done
just
minimal
with her. I
talking.
think she just means in general.
Yeah, in general. But it's getting to the stage now where I am starting to think now, and I'm trying not to, but it's there because it's got to that in between level. It's got to that.
Sorry, go on. I keep doing that.
No, it's just that I've never been in this position before where I'm really, really in between. It's either this or this. Like I feel like I'm in a place where I have to make a choice of do I continue flowing and then, you know, obviously whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, or do we say, well, listen, and then have that conversation, what's there for me right now, and find out what's actually there for her.
I don't think you need to have the conversation at all. I think
don't
you
want to
should
have
just flow with it.
But this is what I mean. We're saying about communication's important.
Yeah, but
there is something that I feel like I want to.
But you have communicated. Yeah. She told you something, you told her something, and you're just hanging out. You have communicated. Sometimes you don't need to say absolutely everything. I meant communication and be clear when you get asked a question. But all of these musings in your mind, at the end of the day, she communicated something, you weren't ready for it. Now she's changed her mind. She's in a place, you're in a place, but you're still hanging out. If she didn't want to hang out with you, she wouldn't. I mean, it seems kind of that you should just go with the flow. If she asks you again, hey, actually, I've changed my mind. We've been spending all this time together. I want a relationship. Answer the question honestly if you get asked that question again. If you start feeling like you want something more, then say it and communicate that. But if right now you just want to go with the flow, then it seems quite straightforward.
Yeah, you make it, you're all this, you're adding a lot of things that are unnecessary.
Wow, my mind. Sometimes my mind.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard to think so much. It really hurts my head.
Yeah, it must be exhausting. Well, not must.
It is. Honestly, it really is.
It's not all the. It's not all the time. It's a lot sometimes to do with.
We're about to do it again.
No, we're not. I'm just trying to get out of it, innit? I'm just trying to get out of it.
All right, you know, like, remember that? Okay, you know that like context that I created when I was sharing with you, and I said about how at the beginning of the year I was doing loads of overthinking, and I felt a little bit lost, and I don't exactly know what to do, and there's so much that I want to do, and how can I try and do it all at the same time, and blah 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 blah. And then I remembered the question that over the last couple of years I'll ask myself every new year: if this was my last year on earth, what are the most important things to me? And then that kind of narrows it down and makes it narrows all those things that I want to get up to in life down to, okay, these are the most important things for me for this year. And like paralleling that, in regards to your love life at the moment, in regards to your creativity, because I know those are two big things, and whatever else that might be there, like your health, like, what is authentic for you in your love life at the moment? What is authentic for you in your creativity at the moment? What's authentic for you in so and so?
All the things I'm doing already, I guess. I'm doing all these things already, like, and I'm very happy with them.
No, but okay.
I keep thinking ahead. I just think a little bit too far ahead sometimes, and it distracts me from these things that are really happening right now that are fantastic.
Are you clear? So even okay. So are you clear for yourself when you say all the things that I'm doing already, and you don't need to say them, but are you clear for yourself what they are?
I'm very clear, yeah.
So then that's something for you to just keep alive, or in other words, keep remembering from time to time, checking in and asking yourself, all right, what's authentic for me now in my love life? And the same things, you may say the same answers again, or you may say something new.
do you know what it is? I just really like this girl, innit? Like, I just really like her, innit? But I'm kind of like almost battling. I'm battling as well. It's really hard for me to control how I'm feeling about things, and it starts to make me think ahead, and that's why I feel that way. I've had that anxiety. It's like, oh yeah, but this, but that, trying to look up ways to yeah, but no, I don't know about this. And the fact is, I like spending time with this person, and that's it, innit? Like, that's really all it is. And I've mentioned it to you before, what it's been like, and it's been fine. The only thing that's coming up for me now is that I'm thinking ahead.
Then don't.
And I'm trying not to. I'm trying my very best.
Then don't.
Something I need to work on.
Shut it down.
I need to
Just shut it down.
You just need to keep reminding yourself, because you've just said what for yourself you just really like, and you like spending time with her. So you just need to remind yourself that when the other thoughts come up, and they will come up because we're human, like our mind's going to do what it does at times. But you have power over how you can guide what you keep your focus on, your attention on. And so when your mind starts to think about the future in a year and 2 years, which is not even happening now, you just got to remind yourself, well, right now, like, I really like spending time with her, and I know I want to keep spending time with her.
That's it. That's all you need to think about.
Yeah, I think all it is that she said she doesn't want to hurt me, and I said, no, that you're not going to hurt me, it's fine. But there's a part of me that's just trying to be on the defense, and that's all. Is that there's a possibility that, you know, that these experiences could be over soon, and I'm not trying to look ahead of that, but like sometimes it just comes up, innit? It's just like, well, it's nice now, innit? But you know, there might be a point where that's it.
But
I'm trying to think. I know that's love, it. That's love, innit? That's it. That's love, innit? That's love. And like,
but you got to stop. But stop at the but.
Yeah.
Because the bit that happens after but is not happening. And you say, oh, but it could stop, or it could end, because obviously you both are at some point. You both at some point may want different things. But right now you want the same thing.
Just go with that.
And in the moment, when whatever happens, for example, just taking that example, then okay, now you both are gonna not spend time together in that way anymore, or not spend time together, you'll then deal with it in that moment.
Don't preempt heartbreak. Enjoy what you've got going on now.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time to feel like shit after heartbreak, if it even happens, which you can't even guarantee that it will.
But I did not that this came up. This whole subject came up because I spoke to one of my friends this weekend, and she said to me, and I said to her, "What does in love mean to you?" I said, "What exactly is being in love then?" She said, "Oh well, it's when you can depend on someone," and she obviously had her way of what she felt is for her, and it says that when you really feel like you can't be without that person. And I remember just saying to her, like, but I don't think I want that. I don't think I want to be in love then. If I don't want to feel like I can't be with that person, like I don't know what it's like to be without that person. It kind of shook me up a bit, and I was like, hold on, like I just want to be able to be independent.
I remember
but have
that was
someone
her
that
definition.
I really care about. Yeah, exactly. But it did almost. I know, and it's fine, and like this whole love thing, like everyone just has their definitions in it, like, and because there's so much definitions, and I've always tried to see if everyone's definition is something like the one that's like, oh yeah, that applies to me. And like that's the thing, I keep trying to overanalyze it, like what is in love, what is love, and instead of just trying to work out my version of it while I go along this journey.
Don't even try and work it out, you'll know you're in love, man.
Oh, I know, I probably know when I know, but it's just
like it's not one of those things where you'll be like, oh, am I in love? Like
you'll know.
Being will, you just get it's one of those, you just get it, and each time, well, okay, it might be one other time, but it's been more than once. Oh, sorry.
It changes though with different people.
Yeah. But you know it. It's not one of those, you don't go in your head and go, oh yeah, am I in love? Yeah, I think so, because I'm starting to feel some tingles in my fingers. Ooh,
it's true.
Eyes are dilated. Like you don't think those things, you just are it.
You feel them.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm so sorry, but I have to go feed my peeps.
Oh yeah, oh my god, look at the time.
I've got the dog scratching at the door. Poor Chico's dying.
Oh, thank you, Anna.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm sorry. I actually feel like I could just talk to you guys all night. I really, really appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. And it was lovely talking to you, Ashley, and meeting you via Skype.
Yeah, it was lovely talking to you too. Thank you for all what you had to share.
I want to know where I can listen to this, because I'd love to listen to our conversation again.
Yeah. This is. Yep. I don't know when Ashley's.
I'll probably upload this one next week. So I'll edit.
Sweet.
I'll edit this because we've uploaded one for today. So I'll edit this next. Well, in between now and next Monday, so it can be uploaded for next Monday. So it'll be on the website.
That's really awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to really look forward to listening to it.
Cool.
Alright, well, you guys have a good night, okay?
Yeah, you too.
Night, bye.
Take care.
Night, bye.
Bye.
Just saying.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I'm just saying.
Just say it!